Hi guys. Yo.
Hey,
Welcome.
yo,
Hey guys,
you're
welcome.
welcome.
Thank you. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. Well, you're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
You're welcome. No, you're welcome. That works. Welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday. This is the show where we talk about whatever topics and issues, problems, concerns, worries are on your mind. And we teach you not to worry
hmm
about them. Well, not really. We attempt to just be a friend and give you some of our best guidance that we can, even though we aren't professional psychologists or therapists or anything along those lines. Just basically to be a friend, sharing some different perspectives, our own experiences, and hoping that it helps you. Um, yeah, that was probably the quickest we've done that. Okay, welcome everybody. How are you all? It's great to see you. Nice to see you, Sawaleze, Twashu. There's a lot of people who are here, and I'm excited to be with you all. Kendra and August and Ellie as well. Um, oh my goodness, thank you. Good to me. I got a coffee. Looks really good too. I think it's like a
Coffee.
yeah. Well, it's not quite a coffee.
It's a latte.
It's like a latte. Yeah.
Latte.
Mmm. No, that's amazing. Um, it's a latte and it's got like maple syrup in it. I think like a
Whoa,
and
that's
caramel.
fancy
Maybe I don't
pants
know. I
latte.
don't know what it is, but it's really good. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
fancy
love in
pants.
its truest
Don't
form.
don't dump it in your pants.
Mm, tempting.
You should just drink it.
Tempting. Um, Ellie, I like
I got
that.
maple syrup pants.
Hmm. Oh, that just sounds like childhood. I mean, let's who
Maple
didn't
syrup
have maple
pants.
syrup pants as a kid, you know?
I mean, it happens, right? I mean, that's just kind of how it goes.
Hmm.
Hey, mug water. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or you could go
Yeah,
up to your kids and
Riku.
be like, "Hey, I know everything," and they're like, "No, you don't." I'd be like, "Yes, I do. You had pancakes for breakfast." And they're like, "How'd you know that?" I told you, I just know everything. See you later.
You have syrup all over you.
Yeah. It's like kids just
I shook
literally.
your hand and it's sticky,
Uh huh. Yeah.
and I'm just gonna guess that's syrup
No,
and not something
literally,
else that's sticky.
literally, kids smell. Some kids just smell like pancakes.
It's true.
Yeah, and not talking like maple syrup. I'm talking pancake syrup. There's a difference.
You mean like so you're saying like the stuff you get at the store that's just regular syrup is pancake syrup, and then maple syrup is like the stuff you get at like a Sugar Shack place where it's like legit pure maple syrup or whatever.
Yeah. Um. Basically, you can get both at the store, and they're right next to each other. But the ones that have like the ones that come in the weird shaped bottle, oh, that's so does maple syrup. The they actually say pancake syrup on them instead of saying like maple syrup. They actually say pancake, and it's like
Oh, really?
it's the most
It's
common.
thicker.
Yeah, it's thicker and it's
Yeah.
darker. Yeah, it's that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was like, what is that syrup called? And I looked it up and it was like, it's just called pancake syrup because you put it on pancakes. And I'm like, okay, sure. I put pancake syrup on my waffles sometimes, though. It's not called waffle syrup.
No.
Oh, oh
Still
well.
pancake syrup.
Yeah, it's still
You know,
pancake
I
syrup.
remember going to a place there was this great place out in the middle of nowhere, like I don't know, 45 minutes or so from my house. And it was just this place out in a field where they made maple syrup, and like on the weekends in the fall, they have like this breakfast deal thing. And
Oh,
so like all these people from all over the place end up at this place in this field in the middle of nowhere for this like eggs and pancakes and waffles and sausage and bacon and everything, and they have their maple syrup that they make on site there,
right.
and then they have it all for sale and stuff too, but
That's
it's
so
so
cool.
good, like actual legit
Mm-hmm.
maple syrup that's just freshly tapped out of a tree or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever is
yeah.
super good.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
awesome. That's great. That's really cool. When I was a kid,
Mhm.
I went to a maple syrup farm. That's what you want to call it. Um, And it was quite interesting to watch and see all the stuff that they're doing. And I got to see them do the making maple syrup. No, hold on. I feel like I gotta sneeze. Okay, it went away. Okay, sorry about that. They're making maple syrup the old-fashioned way, as opposed to what the modern way. So we got to see them have it out on the big giant plate of metal that's like grilling hot. And they're like, no one come near it, no one touch it. And then they're like taking this giant flat piece of thin sheet of metal and going and combing over and cooking it and doing all that stuff, separating it out and finding the pieces that they don't want in it, taking that chunk away. And I saw him doing that the old school way, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
Now there's so much that is done by machinery or whatever, or just technology in general. It's really smart. Cool. And I'm glad that that's the case, because when I was a kid, maple syrup was rare and expensive.
Yeah.
Now you go to a grocery store and you can get it, and it's not that bad.
It's not as expensive. It's
not
more
as
expensive than pancake syrup.
Yeah.
But it's not as expensive as it used to be.
And you can find it.
Yep, it's there on the
grocery
shelf.
store. Yeah, I'm here in Australia.
Glorious.
Guess what? We can find Canadian maple syrup here.
Canadian maple syrup.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
You guys not have maple trees in Australia?
Oh no. We do. We have a maple syrup called Queen, and we have maple trees here. I have to ask my wife. I don't know. She might not know either. I don't know if we have maple trees here. Not a clue. Washu.
It's always fun to see.
Okay, yeah.
It's always fun to see in the springtime, when all the buckets are hanging off of trees and stuff.
Yep.
That's fun.
It'd be interesting to try to make your own maple syrup.
Yeah, there's a guy that lives down the road from me that does it, and he comes by every year and he asks, you got trees like right outside by the road. They're on your property. Do you mind if we tap those? And we're like, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I get half of your proceeds this year.
Yeah.
Because those two trees,
and not just the proceeds from my trees, the proceeds half of all of it.
All of them. Yes. Yeah, because it's two trees. You divide by 2, so I'll just take that chunk.
Perfect.
The maple trees will grow pretty much anywhere in Australia as long as you know how to take care of them. All right, fair enough. I figured they might be banned because they're okay.
How do you ban a maple tree? How do you ban a tree?
So in Australia, there's a bunch of non-native plants and a bunch of non-native animals. Now, if you try to take any seeds or anything like that into Australia, or any plants or any animals that don't exist here already, you can't do that. They will not just fine you, but they'll take your stuff away.
Oh wow! And fine you?
I think so too. I think they'll fine you as well.
Wow.
It depends on.
So they take your stuff and your money.
Yeah, so they take your money and your stuff. Yeah. So you're not allowed to bring stuff in because it will mess with the environment. But then you look around and it's like, how'd you guys get sage? How did you guys get like rosemary? And how did you guys get your like sweet marjoram, your oregano? All of these herbs, I'm looking around and I'm like, you guys have so many herbs that are from England. And then you also have things that are from the tropics of different countries.
Yeah, but like, how many of those things are actually from England?
Yeah, I know that's true too. Like,
it seems to me like they probably originated somewhere else. And
yeah,
then
a lot of
the English found them, and then yeah,
it's like you try to grow plants here and you can't. You're like, why can't I grow any of the plants here? And it's like because they're not native. They don't grow in this environment. They grow in a different.
What is native? What is native there? Like sagebrush.
We do have birds of paradise. Eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is native. There's actually a lot. There's something called kangaroo's paw, and something like that. There's actually a lot of native Australian plants that are quite interesting. They look, it's like plants from a whole different world. You can pick out the ones that don't look like. You can pick out the ones that look like they're from Australia because you look at them, you're like, that doesn't look like a plant that I've ever seen anywhere ever. That's weird. And you're like, okay, that's an Australian plant. Yeah, it's cool though.
It's the weird
Cool.
looking ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, I think everybody's doing pretty good. Haley, how are you?
Yeah, how are you doing, Haley? Eucalyptus. Yeah. You seen any sugar gliders in the wild yet? No, I haven't seen any sugar gliders.
I've seen them in people's houses. They're really fun.
Yeah. We have in real life or
They
just
like
in
fly around.
videos?
Yeah, yeah. Like, and I remember when I was in college, I went over to a friend's house and they had sugar gliders, and they'd just
that's
be
awesome.
like, we're all sitting around in the living room hanging out and stuff, and then all of a sudden this animal would just fly through the air in front of you, you know?
Yeah, I love it. I want a sugar glider. That'd be great. They're cute too. They're like little tiny chipmunks in a way.
They are.
Yeah, I really like sugar gliders. That's great. I haven't seen one in the flesh. I've only seen them on videos. And I have a stuffed animal sugar glider at my house in America. They're so tiny. Yeah,
Yes,
I know.
they are. They are super small. They get caught in your mouse trap. So, like, if you're gonna have sugar gliders, you probably don't want to have mouse traps around.
Yeah, yeah. That's.
Although I guess I don't know what they eat. So maybe if you just baited a mouse trap with peanut butter, everything eats peanut butter.
Well, they probably
Because
eat
peanut
nuts.
butter's so good.
Guessing, probably eat nuts. I don't know. Yeah. Oh no, we had
Your tire broke off.
Oh my.
Oh man, that's a day. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no.
Broke off while you were in the school parking. What? Yeah.
Yeah, at least you were in the parking lot and not going highway speed down the highway
That's
when it
for
happened.
sure. How does your tire break off? That's crazy.
Probably the tie rods and or wheel bearing issues or something.
Hmm. Wow, that's kind of scary, huh? Yeah, look on the bright side
I remember driving by people on the highway and one of their wheels is all off kiltered to the side,
Yeah.
and like it's all. I'm like, oh my gosh,
That's
wow.
scary.
The ball socket broke and then the CV axle.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, hey, a repair place is gonna get some work.
Sure, they need money too. Just like you.
Yeah.
It's your college
Repairs. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Actually, are you done with college now? Or do you have more to do?
Heck yeah. Free repairs.
Aw, that's so good. Yeah, that's a big blessing. That's really nice of them.
Yeah. Oh man.
That's
a big job too. They're
gonna. That's a very big job. Not done yet. Graduating April. Okay. Nice.
This April? Like this coming April?
Must be.
It was like yesterday you graduated high school.
It's true. That is true, but it's also been a minute. A long minute.
Man, oh man.
Back in America at our house, we have a little chipmunk. We named him Chippy. He's kind of our pet, but not exactly. And little Chippy lived under our porch, and he was really cute. And he'd stand out on our porch and watch the traffic and watch everything. And then every once in a while, he'd just go jumping through the yard. You'd see him like try to jump on plants, and they'd all fall over. It was adorable. He was so cute. And so we started feeding him. Started by putting nuts out on the porch for him, and then slowly over time introduced him to us. And by the end of our stay in America, which was over a 3-month period, we were out on the porch just putting our hands out and with nuts in it, and he'd come and he'd just be shy, but he'd come and he'd like grab them, and it was adorable. He'd step on our hands and stuff. It was really cute. We had a lot of fun with Chippy.
That's so cute.
Yeah, we're hoping he's still there when we get
Chippy
back.
the chipmunk. Yeah.
Chippy. So adorable.
We have
So
a
cute.
chipmunk. We have a
Best pet I've ever
chipmunk in
had.
our shop.
He started knocking on the door by the end. Yeah. Hello, you got any nuts? Yeah, it was cute. Yeah, Chippy was the best pet I've ever had, even though it wasn't our pet. But it was nice because it's not like we never
We
had
have
to
to
take care of him. He
shovel
took
up
care of
his
himself,
poop.
and he was very active.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, never had to shovel his poop. Not that you'd need a shovel for it.
You'd need one of those little sandbox shovels,
That's
like,
right.
or maybe a spoon,
Mhm.
just
A spoon, or maybe like a toy doll set spoon.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a chipmunk in our shop. I don't know what we're gonna do with it, but I
Oh.
was working. I was working yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't know. All the days kind of run together, and like all of a sudden, I'm working on this big, huge, 400-pound fan, and I'm like working on it, working on it, and working on it, and then like there's this. All of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see this little brown thing on the ground, and it's moving, and I'm like, "What is going on?" And I look, and it was a chipmunk, and he was just like hanging out there. And then I moved, and he ran away, and he ran
Mm.
into a hole in the wall. And I'm like, man, we got rodents.
Mm. What is?
It's a little different outlook on the chipmunks, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like, it's an infestation.
it's one.
No.
It's an infestation. We're surrounded. um, it's interesting because I mean, people have different views on them, and it's also slightly dependent upon what they're doing. Because
Mhm.
ours is being harmless and it wasn't causing any damage, but my mom had one and it was being a menace. So
Mhm. It's in your walls. It's chewing on wires. It's like putting holes in stuff, and yeah.
yeah. Did you know the capybara, if I'm saying that correct, is the largest rodent? I don't even know it was a rodent, but
I
that makes sense if you
I
look at it.
did know that.
You
I
did?
actually did know that. Yes.
Oh, wow. I
Yep.
didn't. I just looked it up. I just said, what's the
Yeah.
largest rodent?
Jono's a big fan of capybaras.
Oh.
Hmm. Wait, you
Lovely.
saved a bat the other night, like a baseball bat?
I doubt it. I like bats.
Bats are cool. They're freaky when they're in your bedroom.
I used to, when I was working at one point in the basement, there was a bat who was flying back and forth across over my head, and I was like, "What is going on?" It never got freaky. It was just a bit strange, and I was like, "That's exciting. We got some action around here. Usually just dead silent." So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I can
It
imagine
was
it
weird.
being
Like
intimidating.
you got to be so careful with them. Like if they get in your house,
Yeah.
like you got to leave them alone for a while if it's like the mating season or whatever, because
Oh.
like it's the law. You can't like just exterminate them or whatever. So then and you can't bother them while they're in the mating season. So they're just like multiplying in your house
Ooh. Nice.
because there's nothing you can do legally until the end of that season or whatever. And then you got to put this like special thing out, like you figure out where they're getting in and out. And there's this like collapsible net type thing that has an opening in the end or whatever. It looks like a sock,
Oh, okay.
right? And so they can get out, but then they can't get back in.
Mm-hmm.
They can kind of work themselves out through this like sock net thing, and then but then it's closed, and they can't. And then when they come back, they can't like find their way back in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Quite interesting.
yeah, it's crazy though, because if you just find a bat and you get it, you catch it in your house, and you then decide, okay, I'm just gonna let this thing go outside. In a matter of minutes, it'll be back in your house again because they remember how to get in. Unless you have
Yeah.
found where they're getting in and seal that off somehow. Like they'll immediately be back in your house.
Yeah, it's like
So,
mice.
mhm.
Yeah.
Wait, hornets you can't kill them?
Wow. That's surprising. Wow.
Wait, I could become Batman.
Yeah.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. I think
Yeah.
bats are really cool, and they can be kind of cute too.
Hmm.
So
And they eat mosquitoes.
yes, they do. They do a good job at killing Satan,
Hmm.
where his army is.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Satan's army of mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm. I like them. Uh,
Holy cow! Of getting rid of hornets. Of, wow.
wow. Tennis ball sock. Oh, and a blanket to remove bats. Yeah, yeah, nice. That's the way to do it.
Hmm.
Usually do not come back in for us. That's good. Don't hornets have scary good memory? I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't know that either.
Um,
I know that they generally leave you alone unless you go and, mess with them. And
mhm.
then they're really irritable.
But if they make their toy out of your territory, that's like, how do you not irritate them? Because they don't realize that what they're doing is they're like trying to live in your house, and you're like, excuse me, I
Hmm.
walk by this area, up at my door in the hallway. Oh, very fun. Not, yeah. Wow, that's
Oh my
awful.
gosh.
Wow.
Wow. Hornets, man.
Hmm. No, thank you. All
Nothing
right.
like coming
Well,
across a hornet's nest by accident.
yeah, that's never fun. I've stepped on a yellow jacket's nest. That was not
Oh
fun.
no.
Yeah,
No, no.
yeah. I trampled over it. They got
That's
very
no fun.
angry,
Yeah. Yeah. And they're irritable too.
and they chased me. Yeah, and they stung me. Not too bad though. Yeah, it's interesting how fast those things can fly. They can fly faster than we can run with our giant legs. What's up with that? What's up with that? This is just that's not fair. That doesn't make any
I
sense.
don't know. Hey, life's not fair. Get a helmet.
Helmet's not going to protect you because like I'm falling on my head here. It's a bee. It's a yellow
Yellow
jacket
jacket.
wasp.
Yeah. Thing.
Um. All right, let's do a topic. Do a topic.
Okay. Yeah,
Um.
why not?
All
I think
right.
it's a great idea. You guys are awesome, by the way. I love you.
Yeah. I also love you. We're gonna do. Let's see. I haven't seen Younglios today.
I
So.
did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Good. Was he in our
Said
chat?
hi. He said howdy, y'all.
Oh, did he? Okay. Younglios. If you're here, let me know.
Yeah, here.
Oh yeah, I'm here. All right, great, great.
Sweet.
All right. Well, we've got. Let's Manglios, do you have a preference between doing how to adult and meaning? It's literally just titled meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm sure you know what that means. If you have a preference, please say. If you don't have a preference, I'll pick for you based on order.
We could do either one, and
Yeah.
I'd be excited about it.
Either way is good.
Either
Okay.
way is good.
All right, we're
You
just
get
gonna
to pick,
start from
Ryan.
we're gonna start from the oldest and go down. We're gonna do how to adult.
How to adult.
How to adult.
You're
And
asking us this.
he's asking to people who he thinks are adults how to adult, but he's about to find out. We're all just children.
Yeah,
We're all
we're
children of
children that
someone.
grow up into adult bodies.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the uh, the topic on the screen for you guys so you can read it and enjoy. This is from Younglios, titled "How to Adult," and it reads as follows: How do you learn how to adult? when there's always been an adult in your life to do the adulting for you?
Mm.
How do you learn how to adult when there's always been an adult in your life to do the adulting for you? From Mianglios. Thanks, Mianglios. That's a really great question. And what's the word? A relatable one from most of us. As most of us have grown up with adults in our lives doing the adulting part for us. So how do you learn? And yeah, I think part of it is just trial and error, getting out there, and doing it. And it's a little bit daunting because there are going to be a lot of things you're like, I don't know how to do that. I don't really want to do that, and it's like strange. But at the same time, when you do those things, you can feel good about yourself. Feel like you're being responsible, and that's a good feeling. And it feels like I guess it can make you feel proud of yourself, and so on and so forth, and make you feel free, like you're your own man. But yeah, I'm gonna step out of the way. I'm gonna give it over to Joe and see what he's got to say about how to learn how to adult.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, I've been an adult for a while, and I'm still learning.
For at least 29 years.
Well, I haven't been an adult for 29 years.
But you've been 29 for 29 years.
I've been 29 forever.
Yeah. That's true.
And maybe I've been an adult the whole time. I don't know. But anyway, adulting is, I can't remember when this term like came into existence. It wasn't all that long ago. It was probably what, 10 years ago or something. Within the last 10 years, people started using this term adulting. And I'm guessing what it means is, you've got like bills that you got to pay, you got stuff you got to take care of. Haley talked about having a car issue and, having to deal with that and all those things that you just got to take care of, right? You got to make your own doctor's appointments and dentist appointments and, all this kind of stuff. And you got to, apply for jobs and you got to show up on time and whatever it is, Adulting is basically just doing all those tasks that maybe aren't all that fun. But you got to do them in order to, like Saule says, when there's something that needs to get done, you figure out how to do it. Then you do it. Keep up with responsibilities. Yep. And he says, at least to me, adulting is all about being a responsible person and doing what you need to do. Not sure what other people think. Yeah. So, and Super Neon Blue says trial and error. Also, ask adults about specific things. Yes, that's very helpful. If you have adults in your life, whether they be parents or coworkers or relatives or friends or whoever that are farther along the line, they can help you figure out what to do. And, or you can say, hey, I'm in this situation. And then they can say, you need a lawyer or whatever, something. Yeah. And also keep in mind, they could be doing it wrong. It's possible we do things wrong, but here's the thing, right? Now, this is one of the greatest backwards disservices of, school, in my opinion. Because in school, all growing up and everything and all that stuff, they give you all this material in class and you study it and you work on it and you do your homework and you da 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 da. And then you get a test at the end of the thing and you take the test and see how you did. In real life, you just get a test. And then you pass or fail. And if you fail, you probably get to do it again. Because that's kind of how it works. It's trial and error, right? And but there are people there to help you. And if you need to have something done, you can call experts. If you need, like Super Neon Blue just said, taxes. That's why there are accountants. Oh, am I? Okay, we're good. I have the YouTube like over on here.
Don't do that, Joe.
Don't
be looking around like trying to. Okay.
All of a sudden, I saw the screen go black, and now I'm frozen.
Just close your eyes.
Okay. I'm closing.
All right.
I have this weird face on my face.
All right. Why is yours frozen, but mine is not? Okay. Let me tell it. Hey. Fix yourself.
Well,
I
the
don't know.
audio's working, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, audio is fine, but I'm stuck in
There you go.
whatever mode.
Got it. Fixed.
You got me. You got it
There you go.
figured
Hold on.
out.
Hold on. Hold on. You're moving. There you go.
I'm moving.
There you are.
Hey, there it is. Look at that. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
I
Thanks,
don't know what,
Ryan.
yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Mm, my new PFP. Yes. Um,
There you
but
go.
hey Kendra, how's it going? So Mianglios, yeah. Here's the thing about adulting. It's cumulative. You will learn as you go.
Mm.
And if you have questions, it's okay to ask. But just keep in mind, it's just like, I mean, what Ryan say at the beginning? We're all little kids anyway. We're just kids that grew up into adult bodies,
Yeah.
right? And
Definitely.
teachers will say there's no such thing as a dumb question, but there are people out there who will make you feel like your question is dumb. I'm just going to prepare you. But those are people you don't necessarily need to associate with. You get to choose who you surround yourself with. And so if people are making you feel like you're an idiot for asking a question or whatever, then maybe that's not the best person. Unless, I mean, people do that in good fun and whatnot. But like if you're actually getting ridiculed, then yeah, that might not be the best person to keep in your close circle of friends. Um, Yep. Kendra says adulting is hard. I'm constantly asking my mom on how to do something since she's an adultier adult. Yes, this is very true. You can ask parents, like I said before, ask parents, ask relatives. I have cousins that, had a lot of advice that helped out a lot. And then sometimes you need a professional. Sometimes you need an accountant. Sometimes you need a lawyer. Sometimes you need a car repair technician. Sometimes you need, you know, a cabinet maker. Sometimes there's all kinds of stuff that, like, people get into things and then they can help you. So that's the real key is, I think, in adulting, the struggle is getting over the fear of asking for help.
Mm.
Whether it's getting over the fear of calling the pizza place and order a pizza and asking, how do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
Or the fear of, hey, I'm going to confession for the first time. I've never done this before. The priest is there to help walk you through it. You know, if you go to a car repair place and you're like, hey, I don't know something's wrong with my car, can you help me? And that's their job, is to try and help you, right? Help you do what you need to do or accomplish what you need to accomplish. Police are there to help. And, police, some policemen take their job a little too seriously, and they take their authority that they seem to wield a little too seriously sometimes. But I will say, to be a cop would be really tough, because anytime they get a call, something bad happened. Like,
Yeah.
there's no call that something good happened ever for a police officer, right? Something bad happened and they got to go and fix it, clean it up, take care of something, whatever. It's crazy. Um, but yeah,
True.
so there are professionals out there that can help you, all these kind of things. So really, the main, for me, when I look at this, I'm like, okay, adulting comes down to the courage to make a phone call. And it can be intimidating sometimes. Ryan's talked about that on other episodes, where he talked about ordering a pizza and how scary that was the first time, because he didn't know what to ask. He didn't know what to say. And sometimes you don't. And so you just wing it.
Hmm?
And that's kind of how, that's another way adulting is. You just kind of winging it.
Yeah.
You just go and you try and, see how it turns out. And if it turns out crummy, that's okay. That's how we learn. The problem, one of the biggest challenges, and this goes back to the whole thing where I talked about the school issue, when you are raised that you're going to get all this information and then get tested on it, and grades are important, so they're like, you better get good grades, all this kind of stuff. Then you get into real life and you fail it because you don't get any material. You just get handed a situation that's a test, and then you don't know what you're doing yet, and so you fail. And then because you've been indoctrinated for so long to think, oh, failing, great, I must be a bad person or something, or my whole life's going to be ruined or whatever, and then you think, oh my gosh, I just failed this test.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get all demoralized and you're scared to try again and all this kind of stuff. But that's just how life is going to be. We get tests, we get situations, we get handed these things, and then we have to try. And sometimes you don't know anything about what you're doing and you fail miserably. That's okay. You'll get to try again. And that's, I don't know, it's crazy. But I think that's kind of what adulting boils down to for me. Two things. One is understand that you get the test first before you learn anything. Right? You get the test. That's how you learn, is by trial and error, like Super Neon Blue said. The other thing is just the courage to make a phone call, ask for help when you need help from a professional. Or when you need to do something and you need to contact a school or a business or a practice or something, and you need to contact somebody. Just the courage to do that. And it's not that hard. It's really not. You just call and try and be friendly to the person on the other end of the phone. They will appreciate you being friendly to them, I promise, especially if you're calling like an insurance place or a call center for, I don't know, phone service or the IRS or whatever. You're going to be on hold for like an hour and you're going to be all moody about it. But if you can push through and be kind to the other person on the line, they've been dealing with a bunch of angry, irate, rude people all day, and you're going to be a total breath of fresh air to them if you're just nice. That, man, it goes so far to just be nice. You don't have to let people walk all over you, but just be kind. And man, it helps things go so much farther, and you get a lot more help that way. So anyway, I don't know. That's kind of all I got for now. I'm gonna turn it back over to Ryan, and then Ryan can do it.
All right. Well, I'll give it my shot.
Ryan can explain adulting.
Yeah. I think Joe said a lot that's already really good. I obviously agree with that. One thing, I guess, about adulting that I can add to that is perspective. Not just perspective, but what's the word? Priorities. Thank you, Ron Weasley.
Weasley.
Literally, my brain couldn't come up with the word. I knew what the word was, and I knew a place where the word was said. So my brain went to it, and it was like, oh yeah, Ron Weasley said the word to Hermione, or about Hermione. She needs to get her priorities straightened out, or whatever he said. And I was like, that's the word, priorities. Brains.
Ron
Oh my
Weasley.
gosh.
Ronald
Weasley, yeah.
Ron Weasley.
All right. So, anyways, priorities. I think priorities are really important. And I really like what Rising Dawn just said, quoting somebody. Quoting Christopher. Oh, wait, Christian philosopher. Oh, G.K. Chesterton. Chesterton. Yeah, G.K. Chesterton is known for being an amazing author and having a lot of really good quotes. But saying anything worth doing is worth doing badly. And that's absolutely true. If you're going to be a good adult, of course there's responsibilities in taking action. And that's really important. But there's also recognizing which ones are worth taking actions and when to turn down your pride and when to... well, always, but with the ability to do that, because honestly, about being adulting is really just about being the best person you can be for yourself, and for others around you, of course. And so, practicing the virtues will never give you steer you wrong, right? So if you find yourself like, like I'm trying to adult, but I know that I'm too lazy. I'm not getting around to my stuff that I should be doing for my own benefit. I'm not being prudent, whatever. it's like, okay, well, there you go. That's a virtue you should be working on. That's also part of adulting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and really, whether you're an adult or your child, that remains the same. And so when it comes to learning how to get into the position of taking care of yourself, making a family, taking care of your family, taking care of all of the responsibilities you have for yourself in this world that we have today. Um,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's making sure you can secure water and food, and that the water is good for you, and all of these kinds of things, because now you're in control. And it's like, well, I've got water that's yellow. It's like, great, okay, you're gonna need help there, and figuring that out. Um, you really learn along the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally like you look at the problem and you go, I don't know how to solve that. Who does? And you think, and you're like, oh, maybe a plumber, or maybe something else. And it's like, well, I don't have money for that. And it's like, okay, how do you solve that? Okay, well, get a job. You know, stop spending money where I don't need to be spending money. You know,
Mm-hmm.
look at the prices of the stuff that I'm buying. Keep track of this stuff. And it's not all about money. It's not all about fixing problems. Part of adulting is the joy of having responsibility. Part of adulting is the joy of, like, humans were made in some degree to be able to choose, and you get to have that freedom of will and expression of will. And that's yours, and that's beautiful. And being an adult, that's part of it. But with any sort of great power comes great responsibility, right? That's the line. But
Mm-hmm.
as an adult, you're going to have a lot more power over your life, but also feel at the same time like you have no power over your life. And that is the
Mm-hmm.
reality. Both are true.
Mm-hmm.
Living is a little bit paradoxical at times, it feels. Um, you're going to be like, wow, I can kind of get to make decisions around here, and that's really cool. But I'm also the one that has to fix everything. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool because it's yours. It's yours.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, it's yours. It's your environment. It's your living place. It's your life to live. It's your family. It's yours, right? And that's, I'm not saying that in a greedy kind of way, like it's mine. But it's like beautiful. So don't be discouraged by adulting, thinking it's all chores and all this kind of stuff. I'll tell you that when getting out of school is when the starting of the best years of my life began.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's, I didn't like school, but also school's not perfect. School tries to set you up for life, but it isn't life. Um, and
It's life
recognizing
for those teachers because
it is
that's all
life for
they've
those
done.
teachers. Yeah, that's all they've done. That's right.
They've
That's true.
been in academia their whole time.
Yeah, that's true. Life is so many things, and it's everywhere, and you kind of get to make it your own. And so if you get to make it your own, it'd be important to learn how to adult, but it's also important to discover what you want, and it's also important to set your priorities up. It's also important to have good people surrounding you, because you're not going to have a good life trying to do it all alone. um, People accomplish things through each other and for each other. And so having a good community of friends, a good community of family, a good community of whatever it is, um, it really helps to make everything much easier and much better. If you have a
Mm.
strong community, um, like, I know this is taking things back a ways, but it's still important and relevant today. If you live in a tight knit community where everybody's friends, y'all know each other, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, my roof broke. You just call up your friend and you're like, hey, I'm the roof guy around here. So I know what to do. And then,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, your plumbing breaks and you're like, hey, the sinkhole's not working quite right, whatever, back in the day, whatever they're using, you know, and so it's like, even hey, my I just had a child, and they're like, great, we'll send all the other wives and child bearers around, and they'll help you take care of your child because you guys do that together. You know,
Hmm.
back in the old days when that was the case, where women were all kind of together, all around each other all the time, taking care of the 400 kids. And men were generally the ones out going repairing roofs or fixing for all the hunt and chopping down logs and making sure everything's secure. I'm not saying we need to go back to those days, but there's something valuable there, and that's the recognition that the people you surround yourself is generally how successful you're going to be in life, because you're going to be relying on them and they're going to be relying on you generally. So, and that's part of what adulting is. It's taking that responsibility of being your own and being good at what you do, and having other people rely on you, and that's a beautiful thing, to be able to be proud of what you do and good at what you do, and it feels good to do that, right? It is very rewarding, and so and when other people rely on you for stuff, it can feel like, you know doing something good in the world, and you're doing something good for the people you love, and you can see their happiness and comfort grow because of you, right? And it's like, I'm making it easier for the world around me. So that's part of adulting, and I think that's a part of adulting that a lot of people don't get right these days, because they don't take into consideration their community. And I think I could say the same thing about myself. I should do better at this as well. But that being said, I think we can all always do better. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I think adulting is like that. It's just recognizing to some degree that you have responsibility within your environment, and that that's a good thing, and that when you uphold your responsibilities, the environment around you gets better. And when you choose not to, when you choose to be childlike in that sense, maybe, being a child can be, you don't have control over your you don't take responsibility over your emotions, and you freak out all the time, right? That's childlike.
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
you're so If you don't get what you want, you freak out, right? Because you don't have the
Hmm.
control, and it's not the way you wanted it. That's childlike. Children do that. If you ever watch a child and you take a toy away from it, it's like, all hell breaks loose in their mind, because that's their world. And so as you grow up, you realize, like, not everything has to be my way in order for it to be good, and I don't even know everything that's good. So, like, humility and all of these kinds of virtues are really, really useful and impactful. So how to
Hmm.
adult is really just growing up, gaining some virtue, um, and taking responsibility, and recognizing the impact and importance you have in your community, and setting up that community for success, not letting them down, not, you know, really being able to help set up your community for success, whatever that community is. It could be in your business place. It could be like, maybe you have a desk job. It could be your workplace, right? Maybe you work at a fast food.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter. It could be your workplace. It could be your family. It could be just your friend group. It could be your clubs that you manage or you help to manage, or whatever you're a part of. Any activities. You go bowling. It's your bowling club. Whatever communities you're involved in, it's helping set them up for success and being willing to take responsibility when things go wrong to help things get better.
Hmm.
I think that's adulting. All of that. And
Hmm.
I know that sounds like a lot, but really, it's what you're doing already most of the time. It's just, being an adult is like being a child. That's why it's just like being a child, but recognizing, like, there's such things as virtue, there's such thing as respect and responsibility and etc. And it's like, okay, yeah, you take ownership of those, and that's adulting. Um, and a lot of that is going to be humbling yourself to recognize, like, I don't know how to solve this task. Better go find somebody. Maybe
Hmm.
someone does. And so, yeah, yep, that's it. That's
That's
what I
very
got.
true. I'm really glad that you touched on a bunch of that stuff, Ryan, because I think we have lost over time that sense of community. And
Mm.
we try and get it back. We have online communities, we have different communities that we're part of, we have different movements and groups and all this kind
Hmm.
of stuff, but really we are one big human community.
Yeah, we are. Right. That's
And
absolutely true.
like when you talked about, there's this division of services, division of labor, where some people who are into certain things, they do those certain things, right? You've got your roofer, you've got your plumber, you've got your builder, you've got your hunter, you got your whatever, you got all these people,
Your gardener, your
farmers.
gatherer, your
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
You have all these people doing all these kind of different jobs, and it's by design. Like that's how God made us, God made us to be dependent on each other, to be
Mm.
interdependent, where like we fill an area that other people don't, and they fill other areas, and then we have this exchange, right? Where we serve each other. Somewhere along the line, I think it happened kind of in the industrial age when
Mm.
factories started to pop up, and
And they
everybody
designed the schools around
wanted
it.
to go get jobs. Yes, exactly.
And that's why I don't like them.
Because what they were doing was like everything became about making money
Mm.
rather than providing a service. Because when you're providing a service, the money kind of takes care of itself. When you're doing a job, when you're doing something that's, serving the community around you, then people pay you for that and you pay other people to do those services as well, right? But then it became this like what we're talking about is, oh, well, I got to go get an education so I can get a job. And that means I'm going to make some money. But we don't even think about how we're contributing to the society as a whole. A lot of times we just think, okay, I got to go show up and get a paycheck. And that's kind of how it kind of gets. I remember that's how it kind of got boiled down for me when I was growing up
Mm.
and through school and everything. It's like, okay, well, you're going to have to, you got to make money to survive. And so like, you got to go get a job that makes money to survive. And like the whole thing, it was just like, okay, a job is this place I go and do something, but they just pay me for being there. And like early on, like I'm just rejecting this whole mentality, right? Because I don't mind I was talking to your brother, Ryan. I was talking to Kyle yesterday. We were working at the shop, and I'm like, I really don't mind working hard. I just
Yeah.
like doing it on my own terms,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it shows because I'll go to our shop. We started this cabinet business, and like I'm there, like a short day is 10 hours. And the
Yeah.
whole time I'm working and sweating and getting dirty. I've even posted pictures in my server and your server of like getting covered in dirt
Oh, I bet it's
because
great.
like we're doing
Glorious.
all this metal work. It's fantastic. Um, Zay called me dark because I was just covered in this stuff, right? And so, so it gave me a chance to promote When the Darkness Comes.
Nice. Nice. Good
I was
choice.
like,
That's a
I'm gonna
good.
latch onto that.
Yeah, that's great. Where the darkness comes and it's you. It's you're just
It's
covered in
me.
dirt. I am the darkness. I
Yep.
am the night.
But somewhere along the line, it was like, we figured in terms of I want to have a place where I can go and just be there, and it kind of gradually morphed into this. If I can do just enough to not get fired,
Mm.
right?
Well,
And
I
the
think that
boss wants to pay you
just enough so you
just
don't
enough
leave.
so you don't quit.
Yeah, well, a part of that is this. They all stem from, like, somewhere along the line, the idea that no one out there is going to care about you got put into people's heads and the community was dead.
Mhm.
And then people don't, people think, oh, no one else cares about me, so therefore I have no deal. Like, I don't care about what my coworkers paid, like, if they're struggling or not. And then you're like, I don't, and it's like, I don't care how well my business does. I'm working for them and they're paying me crap. So it's like, I don't care. And this whole, I don't know, this mentality of no one out there is going to care about you. So you have to make, you have to get a good job because otherwise you're just going to be homeless, because that's the real world. And that is the real world for some people because they believe it and they live that life and they treat others like that. And if you treat others like that, then yes, that is going to be how you're going to live. Because no one's going to care about a guy who doesn't care about them. But if you choose to be someone who gives to your environment, you will be surprised how much people are willing to go out of the, like, I remember when I was just starting working, and I was working with a bunch of people who were just, slums, ragtag. Life is your own, like, not life is your own, but what's the phrase? It's a dog eat dog world out there. They believed that. And then me and my brother came along and we're like, whenever something happened, that we would just, like, especially Kyle, it would be like, hey, my car broke down. Kyle's like, I'm there. And he'd just come pick him up, drop him off, do whatever, and help him like look at their car, take it into the mechanic, etc. Whatever it was. And then all of a sudden, the community started taking shape, and it no longer became a dog eat dog world. All of a sudden, people are like stepping up for each other. It's like, oh man, that sounds like a rough time. Hey, you want me to come out and help you with it? It was like a year ago, you would have never have said that. You would have just been like, oh, sucks to be you, like, and hung up the phone on me. It's like, you can live that life if you act that way, and other people will act that way, but you can change that. Like, if you realize, like, putting myself forward for other people turns them into people who start to feel like they want to put themselves forward for you, and it happens. It's real. So, Anyway, I just wanted to touch on that because somehow the system we're in programs us to think that we have to step on each other like crabs out of a bucket.
Right.
If you know the analogy.
Right.
And
there's a finite bucket of resources, and like, so if somebody gets more, then it must have gotten taken from me, and it's not available for me anymore. And so, but that's not the case at all. We live in unlimited abundance.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of, shifting your perspective to think, okay, whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm going to serve. I'm going to do the best I can. Even when I was working like minimum wage at a car wash or at a grocery store or whatever, and I'm doing these menial customer service tasks, part of it, when I would remember to do it, and I had gotten some training along this lines by then. And so, like, I had understood, when I'm there and I'm interacting with people, I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to help them have fun. I'm going to help them have a better day. That's one of the reasons why I'm there. And I had ultimate job security that way with my bosses, because they saw how well I interacted with customers. And so they wanted to keep me, even though they didn't want to necessarily give me a raise, because it was what the job would pay. It was, they weren't going to pay me manager pay for cashier work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they're paying me what the job will pay, but it didn't matter. I was just like, okay, I'm going to do my best to, interact with these people. But what that does is it affords you little freedoms.
Oh yeah.
When you work hard and you treat people nicely, you treat people well and all that kind of stuff, if your 5-minute break is accidentally 8 minutes, then they're not going to be nitpicky over that. Or your lunch, you might have a 30-minute lunch and you take a 33-minute lunch or a 35-minute lunch or whatever, It's not going to matter. Right? Show up 5 minutes late. I guess it depends on the boss. Sometimes some bosses are really anal and like crazy about that kind of stuff, but I don't know, how do we get all this? This is all in adulting.
Yeah.
We're talking about adulting, right?
Yeah. I remember I worked at I was working at Taco Bell, and they were like, I could replace anybody here except for you, Ryan. I cannot replace you. If you leave, there's no one that's going to come here to fill your spot, which was just
and
having
why
a good
was
attitude.
that was exactly, that was your attitude.
It's just
you're
attitude.
Working with customers, the way you did that kind of stuff, all that.
Yeah.
That was what that was. And so of course you're not replaceable that way.
Yeah.
If it's just somebody, making tacos, somebody can come in and make tacos. Well, all you do is follow the directions that are posted right in front of you, right?
Right.
I mean, all the recipes and all the amounts and everything is just, it's just following those directions, and so like people can do that, but that attitude is totally irreplaceable.
And that's not trying to be gloating. I'm just saying anybody can. It's not like oh yeah, no one can replace me because I'm special. It's like no, it's just how you choose to act, and then all of a sudden
Hmm.
you will be irreplaceable. And that could have been
Hmm.
anybody at our store.
Yep.
So that's adulting.
It's fun.
Hmm.
Enjoy it. Understand, yes, it's going to be stressful at times. That's okay. Everybody handles stress at times.
Yeah.
But the more you can think about in terms of I'm in this community and I've got responsibilities, I've got things that I need to do, I've got things that need to be done, and maybe I need help from somebody, maybe I need a professional in this area, maybe whatever it is, right? That's part of living in that community. And the way you are, the way your attitude is, the way your outlook on life is, if you can keep that community approach to life out there and in the forefront of your mind, that helps things go a lot more smoothly in all of your interactions. Even the interactions that would be really uncomfortable, they're still way easier than they would have been. Way easier than they would have been. Yes, Haley. Adulting sucks sometimes, though. It's good
Hmm.
too.
Yeah.
Yep, you grow and learn a lot, and when you look back and see how far you've come, you feel happy and proud of yourself. It's true. You do. You look back over your life and you're like, "Oh my gosh, these past like 3 years that I've been an adult, I've learned this." Right?
Hmm.
And look at what I'm capable of doing now.
Right.
It's wild. But here's the other thing. I'll give you one little caveat to that. And that is you handle a problem and it's the hardest thing you've ever handled. A lot of times you graduate to a bigger problem next.
Fair enough.
You graduate to higher complexity. Higher
Hmm.
complexity, more nuanced, there's other issues and maybe those things were all there the whole time. It's just you didn't even think of it because you were focused on this other aspect of it. For the longest time I was focused on getting the task done and then oh wait, there's people around me, so I got to get the task done as well as interact with these people and still have it go okay, you know? So like then all these new dimensions start to crop up and then before you know it you're just going through things and it's a breeze. And you're just,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Fair
so
enough.
this needs to be done. I know who to call. This needs to be done. I know who to email. This needs to be done. I know where to go. And then it just becomes second nature. And then you are helping the new young adults learn this kind of stuff. And
And it's so
yeah,
much
it's
easier
really,
to
really
do it as a
cool.
team because like you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
good at some things and you're bad at others. I'm really
Right.
grateful that my wife is who she is because it's it's she fulfills things that are part of adulting in ways that are much better than mine or I have no interest in. And then I am that way for her. I don't mind
Mm-hmm.
making the phone calls and talking to people too much. She doesn't like doing that at all, and for good reason. And then she'll be the first to pick up some paperwork and start doing it, and I'll be like, I didn't want to do that. Thank you. You know. So it's really nice to have a community. It doesn't have to be a spouse or something, but just to be able to recognize your strengths and weaknesses and act towards that and work with others to make adulting work well for you and everybody else around you. So I
Right.
really like that. Yes, your community is huge.
Haley, you're here and you said sometimes you're focused on making it through a crazy school week and then your car breaks, right? But you stayed focused on the positives. You stayed focused on, okay, I was in a parking lot. I wasn't on the highway. You stayed focused on all these little areas and like, how am I going to fix this, right? Even though that could have, created, I'm sure that you had the opportunity to have some anxiety in this whole situation, right? But I'm guessing because of who you are and because of how you pursue virtue, that you did maintain a bit of peace while you were going through that. I'm just
Sounds
gonna
like you did.
guess.
Yeah.
You're talking about staying positive, trying to look at the bright side, all this kind of stuff. That happens more the more you pursue virtue. And that's one of the things that Ryan talked about. You will have that peace. You will have that looking at the bright side. You will have all of that type of thing. You won't be as afraid. Things won't cause as much anxiety and fear if you can try to pursue virtues. Because what's happening is you're setting yourself up on solid ground, and you realize, hey, it's going to be okay. No matter what, it's going to be okay. It's going to turn out okay. This is going to work. We're going to work through whatever this challenge is, and it's going to be okay. At the end, it's going to be fine. That peace of mind gets more and more and more apparent and stays with you the more virtuous you are and the more you pursue virtues, like Ryan was talking about, because then inside of you are solid. That's one of the benefits, one of the many benefits of pursuing virtue, is you have that peace of mind, that solidness of character. That all helps so much.
It does. It's so helpful. It's such a blessing, and it's not like we do it alone. I mean, it's something that we learn, and we have to focus on getting good at virtues. But it's not just something that we can take full credit for. It's a conglomerate of many things, but it's such a huge change. It's so much better to live a life of virtue rather than it all going to waste. And there are temptations out there that will take you away from virtues. They exist. That's the 7 deadly sins. It's like they're all temptations in ways, or they're all just a part of some kind of animalistic natural way of life. But when you can put those things aside and decide, you know what, I'm going to try to be right. I'm going to try to be right by others, be right by myself, do good things, be virtuous. Life gets easier. It's like
even the challenges, the challenges you'll still face, but they don't hurt as much. They don't hit you as hard, and they don't knock you off balance as much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You can just take anything with a lot more calm and finesse, and just makes a big difference. So
yeah,
thank you, Myong for this question, this thought to discuss, because I think it's something that's more than just for people who are young and haven't adulted yet. I think it's for everybody, even adults especially, because they're the ones in it. They're the ones in the battle. They're the ones facing us. And I think the things that we got the chance to talk about and, learn, and to engage in the perspective more so that's healthy, rather than just being like, oh, it's all about, having to all these responsibilities and having to do everything and all this kind of stuff, and like all of the dread, instead to really look at it and be like, actually, it's a community thing, and it's a very beautiful, cool thing. To remember that, and to realize that, and carry that forward as you carry on with your adult life, to reinstitutionalize that frame of idea really makes life more enjoyable. And so it's worth talking about, worth covering, even for us adults, because then we can look at it and be like, oh yeah, this is how I should navigate that. I'm an adult. It's about figuring out my community and stuff like that. And it's like, that's right, And so I think it's very helpful. I'm glad you talked about this, because it's helpful to me. I'm sure it's helpful to all of us. So yeah, thank you. Thanks, Myong Leos.
Thank you. We have a new topic in here, and it's urgent.
Oh, thank you.
From Ellie. I'm processing it right now.
Okay. Thank you for
Ellie, are you here?
Ellie has been here. Quite recently.
This topic was submitted, I think it says 14 minutes ago.
14 minutes ago, and urgent. They've got to be, right?
Hey, nice. Still
Yes.
here. All
Okay.
right, all right.
Cool. Let's do it.
I'm processing it right now, so entertain them while
Okay.
I'm processing it.
All right. I'll entertain them.
Do something entertaining.
A puzzle, the of peace, a
But
only
do it
that but
silently so I can pay
struggles and
attention to
oh,
what I'm
sorry.
thinking. I'm kidding. There you go.
Are you
There go.
entertained? I'm fake juggling. This is what fake juggling looks like. I'm silent juggling. Do, 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 do. If I did the music, people would have understood. If I just went do, 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 do. Otherwise, they're just like, what's he doing with his hands? What is this? That's not what juggling
What do you
looks
mean
like.
my
Has he ever juggled before? No. No. I mean, I tried. I've done a little bit as a kid. Yeah. If anyone can juggle, let me know. Might need your assistance at some point in my life. I don't know. Your wound concerns me. I hope you are taking care of it.
Well, that's just my face.
That's just my wound. My face is just a wound. Normal.
What wound? What are you talking about?
Which wound?
I've got multiple.
Don't we all?
This one's my face. She probably is talking about my stigmata
Oh.
because I've been waving my hands and it's probably.
Oh.
Yeah.
All your wounds.
I don't have stigmata.
All your wounds. All your wounds are
That actually happened. I made eye contact with a woman.
Made eye contact with what?
Kidding. With a woman.
I thought it was gonna be the bat or the chipmunk.
No.
Yeah, I made eye contact with a chipmunk in our.
It's actually healed quite a bit.
Mm.
So it was much worse last week.
Yeah, be careful around those electronic machineries that are made to cut through wood and stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's not how you got it, but still.
No, well, we're not even using that equipment yet.
I know.
We're using.
I'm just letting you know.
More crazy stuff
crazy.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good night, Saule. Yes, have a good night, Saule. I hope you have a wonderful rest and you enjoy your dreams. I'll see you on Monday, and it'll be my Tuesday, Saule. Yeah. Take care, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
this must be a long one.
Well, not really.
No? Okay. It's just hard. It's hard to do it on the spot.
Well, and I got to make sure I have all the right things checked and.
And can you space
I think I got it. I think I
paragraphs out from each other in case?
Oh, you want it spaced out?
Yeah, just a couple sentences at a time. It's really helpful to me. Otherwise, my dyslexia starts kicking in worse and worse as the sentences run on.
There you go.
Thank you.
And
technology is a real struggle of adulting.
Yeah. There we go.
But keeping up with it, or just using it. Hubby, do you want to bake you something? Aw, you're so sweet, sweetheart. Of course. I'm always happy if you bake me something. What do you have in mind? Try making it sure. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's not.
No, it's fine. I'm done. Should be ready.
What do I want? I don't have a specific
maybe it's
thing.
Not. What the heck?
I don't know. Yummy. Okay, brownies are really yummy. I love those. The only way I can have chocolate is if you make me brownies or if I eat 100% chocolate, which is good too, but a lot of people don't like that. Does anyone here like eating 100% chocolate? 100, like literally baker's chocolate? Let me know, because I do. And what about coffee beans? Straight coffee beans. Can you eat straight coffee beans? Something else like that?
Yes, those are good too.
You like both of those, Joe?
Yeah.
That's great. I
like bitter things. I like baker's chocolate. I like coffee. I like chocolate covered coffee beans.
Oh yeah. I've never seen 100% chocolate covered.
No, me neither. They're sweetened
sweet.
chocolate usually, but I do like those chocolate covered espresso beans, man. But I'll tell you what, you only need about 5 of them, and then you're just like.
Seriously, those chocolate covered espresso beans are one of the best purchases you can make when it comes to food, because you put them in a bowl, and like every time you walk past it, you only grab like one because you can't handle much more than that. Like if you eat like five, you're like, I'm done. I don't want any more ever. For a long time. But it's like throughout the day, you're just munching on them, and it's like it's like, yeah, they're more expensive than other chocolate covered things, but they last so much longer, and they're so much more joyful. Like you experience the same amount of joy with like one chocolate bean as you do like 15 chocolate covered raisins or something, So they're a really good purchase.
It's just because there's lots of caffeine in there, right?
Oh, it's good. It's good.
It is. Do I like earwax? I've not tasted it before. Now you're gonna give me an idea of something I need to do. I need to try.
No, Joe. When I was a child, when I was a very young child, I had tried that, and I tell you,
don't try the earwax.
No, it's awful. It's bitter, and that's why they suggested it, probably because it's horribly bitter. It's disgusting.
I mean, I like
though.
bitter. I like bitter stuff.
Well, maybe you'd like your earwax. Maybe
it was weird. Like
I've had recycle.
August says I like chocolate covered coffee beans, but I don't think I could eat coffee beans alone. Sure, you could. I've done it before.
I've done
I
it
remember doing when we were when I was over at your brother's, when we were working on his house, whatever year that was, we'd go, and they always had whole bean coffee, and so you'd have to grind it, and then you'd put it in the thing and make it and whatever, and it was like this big long process to get coffee at their house, and so like we'd be sitting there grinding the beans, and one of his like 3 or 4 of his kids would be standing there watching me grind coffee beans, and then I'd just eat some.
Just pop them in your mouth. Yep.
And they'd be like, they're all like
that's
distraught.
That's the look everybody gives me whenever I put one in my mouth too. They're like, "Is that okay? Can you do that? Are you gonna die?" I'm like, "What do you? That's food. It's literally a bean."
I'm either eating it or I'm spraying hot
bean.
water over it and drinking the water.
Yeah. Don't eat your earwax. That's Bacteria Central.
Bacteria Central.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right.
Thank you. Neon Blue percent.
Haley, you're like a biochem major, pre-med, whatever. Earwax is not meant to be eaten.
Yeah. That's why it's so bitter. Okay. Typically bitter things are bad for you. You know what, Haley? I recognize that, but the more I live life, the more I recognize that is not true. Like, it's true. Our bodies are designed to like sense poisons and so on and so forth. Like, this is bitter, therefore don't. But then what the heck is up with some people like mushrooms, some people hate mushrooms, some people like bacon, some people hate bacon, some people like beans, some people hate beans, some people like nuts, some people dislike, like some people like bitter, some people like sweet. What is up with that? Because that has nothing to do with the evolution chart and really just figuring out what's going to make me survive the best. It's like, what's going to make you survive? Nutrition, good nutrition things. Then why are you addicted to sweet things like jelly beans? It's like, that is not how things work. It is not all evolutionary. Not everything is evolutionary. I'm telling you. I think a lot of it is just fun. It's God having fun. It's like, this person's going to like mushrooms. This person's going to hate them. Let's see how they get along. I don't know.
I'm thinking, Super Neon Blue, I think you're onto something here. I think broccoli is bad for me too.
You just gave a non-answer and moved on. Yeah, right. I don't think broccoli is bad for me because I don't, So I think broccoli is bad for me because I don't like it. Yes. Must be bad for you. It's like, oh, you don't like the taste of broccoli? Oh, that must mean it's bad for your body. Oh, you really like sugar-coated chocolate? Ah, that must be good for you then. This is what your body needs. Go ahead and eat some.
Dippin' Dots.
Oh, Dippin' Dots.
All you need ever, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, this one's urgent, so we better get on with it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Before we lose it. So I'm gonna refresh so I can see it real quick here. And here we go. Ellie, and this is on burnout. Ooh. Very nice. Okay. I just realized last topic, I'm sorry, I forgot to put it on the screen. So I'll do that with this one.
Yes, snacks is the answer to life.
Yeah, that's partially
Snacks and
true.
sandwiches. I tell
Ooh,
you,
sandwiches?
I eat lots and
I haven't had
lots
a
of
sandwich in a long time.
sandwiches right now.
I like
It's
sandwiches.
always sandwich.
I like baked sandwiches. Those are my favorite. Oh,
Well,
so
yeah,
good.
we just we have a fridge full of sandwich stuff, and that's it
That sounds cold.
at the shop. It's great. And the number 42.
Yeah, well,
You know,
you know, you're one of the. Yeah, wow.
it
42 is the meaning of life, apparently. All right,
is. No,
here we go.
it's the answer to
The answer
life,
to-
the
and everything.
universe, and everything.
Wow. Thank,
42.
thank goodness we have
42.
42. So, this is from Ellie. It's titled Burnout! All in caps. Sorry about the shouting. That's just what it says.
I did that. I
Yeah,
did that.
Joe did that. Joe made me do it. Sorry, guys. Joe made me do it. Um, if you want to read along, please feel free to do so. We have it on the screen for you. But if you don't want to read along, don't. Don't do it. Jeez, what do you
Yeah.
do?
If you don't want it, don't, man.
Yeah. Kidding me? You're an adult. You make your own decisions. Okay. Anyways, this is how it reads. I'm finding myself in burnout. I'm trying to push through this burnout while preparing for my project, but I keep seeing things that are making it difficult to move forwards, and it feels like I keep getting hit again and again, and it's nearly suffocating. I find myself becoming depressed and am thinking that I can't move forward with my dreams despite the fire in me mere weeks before. That makes more sense. That does make a lot of sense. Yeah. Despite the fire in me mere weeks before. This is what I love, and I don't want to lose this fire for what I love in the middle of a project and just do it half-heartedly. Fair enough. I know the both of you have I know that both of you have dealt with these things, and I just need help to continue moving forward when I'm so close and yet so far. From Ellie. Thank you, Ellie. Thanks for sharing this. Thanks for being open with your experiences here. And I feel like I talk about this often with my wife because it's a struggle for everybody, especially those who are in the creative world. Anyone who's in the world of creativity and has to create their own things. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to navigate this. So hopefully we can give you some insight. Hopefully we can share our own experiences and perspectives. And I'm continuing to grow in this area, even though I'm not really completely facing it all that much, just because other people continue to face this, and we can work together to try to figure out how to solve these problems. So one thing that's important to notice about this is that not everyone's going to be the same, but we can all sort of glean things and learn together. So we can give it our best and hope that whatever we have to say can help you with your burnout, help you with moving forward despite this potentially what feels like a sidetrack that's burning you out on things like that you actually want to do, which is things that you love. So yeah, let's get this worked best we can for you. And I know that a lot of the heavy lifting is going to be up to you in the end, but hopefully we can do something that inspires you and encourages you along your path. So with that said, I'm going to give it over to Joe. Joe is accomplisher of many things all the time. So and one that inspires me.
Maybe.
So I feel comfortable and happy to give it over to him. So hey, yo, Joe, it's all you.
I'm the accomplisher of many things all the
You
time.
are. All the time.
Wow.
You are the accomplisher of many things all the time.
I'm very flattered. I also experience burnout though.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes,
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You say I knew if I didn't put it in, I'd settle in the burnout.
Yeah. That's great.
What was
Glad
that?
you did.
Mm-hmm. So burnout, when you're just done, right? You're just like done with whatever you're working on. You just you can't even bear to look at it anymore, right? Is that the kind of burnout you're talking about? Or are you talking about exhaustion where you can't really do even anything? I've experienced both where I'm just sick of a project. That's generally how I know I'm getting close to being finished, especially with a song. I'm just tired of hearing it over and over and over and over and over again, over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And by the time it releases, I never want to listen to it again, ever. So all the streams that, I've of songs that I've worked on, they don't come from me because I don't want to listen to them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's usually just the case. So, I actually went through this recently with Kate, my coach. And we talked about scheduling because she's like, you are on a road to being completely burned out, meaning like you're not going to be able to do anything. Like you're going to burn yourself out to the point where you are either going to be hospitalized or just bedridden
Hostile.
or something. Yeah, right. Because I was just working so much, and this is what my life has been for the last month or 6 weeks or something like that, where it was just like I'd wake up, I'd go to the shop, I'd work and work and work and work and work for anywhere from 10 to 17 hours, and then I would go home and I would take a shower and I would go to sleep, and then I would get up and I would do it all over again. I get up and like drink coffee and take vitamins and whatever
Were
and
you
just
taking
try
Sundays
and
off?
wake myself awake.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
Sundays off.
Good.
I did not work 7 days a week. So that's my first piece of advice. Take 1 day per week off.
At least.
One at least. Maybe 2.
Maybe 2.
There's
you
a
don't really
reason
want to do more
this
than
whole
that.
5 this whole 5-day work week is really smart actually because when you have 2 days off. And it's great because if you like, and it kind of worked out culturally in a Christian world because then Sunday was a day where you completely rest and, like you spend time with the Lord and, spend time in worship and prayer and meditation and all that kind of stuff and just rest. Saturday is a day of not working at work, but being with your family or working, and you spend your rest day with your family too. But you can do like all the around the house stuff, on that other non-work day. But you're still keeping yourself busy. You're doing
If
all
you're
the stuff around
Jewish,
the
it would
house.
be
Blah
the
blah blah blah
opposite.
blah blah blah. Right, Jewish, it would be Saturday. Saturday is the day of rest, right? So, but anyway, if you can take one day where you don't do any of it, none of the work.
And
For
celebrate that
1
day.
day per week. Yes. And it's tempting. When you're in production, when you're doing media, when you're doing something creative, it's so tempting to just, well, all my stuff's here at home. I'm at home. I can just work on it. It's whatever. I'll just work on it for a little bit. And then you end up working on it like all day long. And then, but before long, if you go too many weeks without taking 1 day off, at least, you're really gonna get exhausted. You're gonna get burned out. All this kind of stuff. So that's step 1. Take 1 day off. Step 2, I would shoot for getting 7 hours of sleep. I still struggle with that, but I'm working on it. I can't hardly sleep 7 hours straight because I spent so many years sleeping 4.5 hours, and so my body just gets up. But I'm trying because I do realize that in order to avoid burnout, in order to avoid that exhaustion, in order to avoid getting sick, because that's what happens. Eventually, you either get super stressed out and have a nervous breakdown, or you get sick, and then you're not good at all. You can't do anything for a while, and so that sucks. So you can avoid that by taking 1 day off per week and getting adequate sleep. And I would shoot for around 7 hours at least. Some people more, some people a little less, whatever. But I wouldn't go much below 6. I was really productive for a long time on 4.5, but there was also lots and lots of stimulants pumped through my body all the time. And it was really, really stressful. And I still, even in that amount of time, I still took Saturdays and Sundays off. Both. Where I didn't do any work. So, and it doesn't have to be Saturdays and Sundays. It doesn't have to be those specific days. But I'm just telling you, take one day at least off per week where you don't think about work, you don't think about all that kind of stuff. You just set it all aside for a day. Play some video games, watch some movies, hang out with friends, go for a walk, whatever. Just do recreation and rest. R&R, right? So that's one way. Though doing those things, just those little bits of self-care can help keep you from being burned out. Now then, okay, so what happens when you lose the fire? Because you're on fire for this project and you want to do something good and you want to make something happen and it's cool and you're excited about it, but then, man, the closer you get, the more you do it, the fire kind of starts to die down and it fizzles and it's like, oh, man, I just don't have the energy to do this anymore and I'm kind of sick of it and blah 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 blah. One of the best ways I've discovered, actually, I didn't discover this, I was taught this, but one of the best things I've learned to do is to figure out why and reconnect with that why. So why am I doing this? Maybe I'm doing it for my kids, and so I'll look at pictures of my kids. Maybe I'm doing it for, a future of some kind of thing, and there's some kind of image. Like, I work well with images, so I would try and find images that would represent that dream, whether it's a picture of a house that I want to live in or a beach because I like hanging out at beaches or something, there was this whole time of I'm working on stuff, but then sooner or later you just spend so much time with your head down, nose of the grindstone, working that you forget why you're doing it and then you get tired of working. So then you got to come back and revisit, why is it that I'm doing this? And once you can do that and then visualize it, get it back in your subconscious mind, why it is that you're doing this, then you won't lose the fire as much. Now, sometimes it might fizzle and fade a little bit, but you won't lose it. And you can reignite it by revisiting the why. So why am I doing this? What can I put in front of me that represents that? Is there a trinket? Is there a picture? Is there a YouTube video? Is there a song? Is there something I can listen to, look at, play with, whatever, that reignites, that helps me revisit why I'm doing this in the first place? And when you reignite that, your fire will stay lit a lot longer and you'll be able to work harder for longer, as long as you're also doing these self-care tips and avoiding the burnout, right? Because you get into that phase, depression is really easy to come by when you're in burnout and when you're tired and when you're exhausted and when you're sick of doing something. All of that, you can have all kinds of psychological issues because of that. So those are probably the main things. So you're feeling like you can't move forward. Let's see, I'm just looking through. Yeah, those are the kinds of things. So you're talking about burnout and then feeling like you're losing that fire. And those two things that I talked about, the self-care and then the reigniting the reason why. If you can do those, then that'll take you a really, really long way, all the way to completion. It's not always going to be easy, but those things will definitely help you stay on track. So, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Ryan. I have not paid any attention to the chat, and I apologize. So
That's, yeah, fair enough. Rising Dawn Studios, aka Ali, we have, you said, um, when I get home late past midnight, and then I have to set things up for me to have to wake up early in the next morning, it's hard to balance. Yep. I understand that. I don't know what to tell you there other than sometimes you just got to do that. And a lot of it is going to be perspective. So here's the thing. If you look at that and be like, if you go through that scenario and your perspective is, like I don't want to do this, and I have to get up early in the morning. I'm not going to get any sleep, and I'm going to be exhausted, etc. If you go through with pointing out all of the negatives, well, you're going to get burnt out. And I'm not saying like, we'll just be positive all the time. Well, I kind of am, but it's not just about that. My point isn't just to say, oh, you're thinking about things wrong, and that's the problem. No, there's definitely going to be a lot of different things that can be causes. But one thing that you can do for yourself is when you get home late at night and you're like, the first thing you should think to yourself is, oh man, this is so cool. Whatever I'm doing, I'm important enough that I have to be up this late. And it's really cool that I get to be up this late at this hour. I remember when I was a kid, I wasn't able to stay up late, so it's just kind of cool that I can do that. And then, whatever. Like, change your perspective on it. Look at it like, with dignity and respect. There's a lot of dignity to be respected in this moment. The fact that you are working hard, we were made to work to some degree. That's not all we're made for, but there's dignity in our work. Our work serves a purpose. We were just talking about adulting and how our work affects our community. It affects our lives. It affects our families. It affects the world around us and makes the world around us a better place. Go back just to a simpler time to explain it. People who just fix straw roofs, but that's what they're good at, and that's what they do. And at the same time, it's like, well, what if we didn't have that person around? Well, yeah, we'd all have damaged roofs. We'd all have to be trying to figure out how to do it ourselves. And that's annoying and a pain in the butt because it's going to take me like 4 times as long as it would take him because he knows what he's doing and he knows how to do it right, And so it's like, it's so nice to have somebody in the community that knows how to fix a straw roof because ours keeps breaking on the daily, whatever it is. There's always like lightning bolts and hail coming down through it's not his fault this keeps breaking, but it keeps breaking, etc. When you apply yourself, you're doing a service to the world and your community around you. Even if you don't necessarily know everybody in your community, you're doing something good. And so when you get home late from work or whatever it is, you're like, I was out late doing something good. Respect yourself, experience the dignity in that, and think, the work I have to do in this world is good. And yeah, you've got this project that you want to work on, that your heart is burning for, that you got this fire in your heart to do. Oh, that's excellent. That means, that's dignified. That's like, this is work that's good, that I want to do. I'm on fire for it. It aligns with like just my being, my personality, the things I want to see in the world, the things that excite me, There's great dignity in that. And that's to be respected. And so maybe rework your framework in your mind about work and recognize that it's burnout. Yeah, we're all going to get burnt out. But if you're taking breaks and you're doing all that, and you're eating healthy, right? And you're not sick all the time, because that is real. If you're sick all the time, everything's going to burn you out. But if you have the right mentality, even if you're sick, working feels good. Even if you're sick, having gotten some work done doesn't make you feel more burnt out. It makes you feel like, yeah, I got something good done today. That's great. Even though I'm sick. So I'm happy with that. And it doesn't make you feel burnt out because you're happy with yourself. You're happy with what you've completed, what you've exceeded at. Sorry, I forgot to put it on myself. Here you go, guys. But, so perspective is really important. Perspective is huge. Perspective can be the game changer here. If you look at it and be like, you know what? This isn't hard. it can make everything different. Because if you go into something and be like, oh, I don't want to do it, it's too hard, you're burnt out before you even begin. But if you look at it and say something like, oh man, that's easy. Just give me like, yeah, I'll take like a couple days, but that's easy peasy. I'm on it. And you go with that attitude, that ain't gonna burn you out. So your perspective, your attitude is a big part of the puzzle. And I'm not saying it's the only part of the puzzle, it's just a big part. And so be proud of yourself. Be proud of your work. Be confident in yourself. And I know that's a hard one for people, but be confident in yourself. You can do these things. And it's not like you can do these things despite you not whatever. No, you can do these things. It's fully in your capabilities. I mean, whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's burning you out right now, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. So, perspective, very important. How you talk to yourself can create that perspective. So when you're in the quiet moments of your mind and you think, oh man, I gotta wake up early tomorrow and I'm just like so tired. Change your mind about that. Change the way that you speak about that moment, because you can be like, man, I'm so fired up. Let's go. This is awesome. I'm going to get how many hours of sleep? I can only get 4 hours of sleep tonight. I am nuts. This is holy cow. I'm sick. This is great. Not sick as in like I'm ill, but just
I'm sick. I'm about to be sick.
It's okay to think a little bit that you're all that in a bag of chips, you know, to some degree. It's like, you know, be proud of what you're doing and being like, yeah, I'm working that hard because I'm that cool. And just carry on that way. And I understand that long term, that can have some downsides, but only if it's taken too far.
Mm-hmm.
Long term, if you don't do that, it'll also have its downsides. Because if you don't do that, that means, well, you're not talking to yourself correctly in some ways. You're not talking to yourself in a way that rewards yourself and uplifts yourself and recognizes that you are capable and recognizes that you are doing amazing, you know? So if it's like, if I see someone who's like, man, I'm working so hard that it's like if they're excited, they're like, oh man, I'm excited. I've got this project to do and it's been on my mind and it's like, it's working so hard through me. Like I'm getting 4 hours of sleep, but it's because like I just wake up at the middle of the night. I'm like, I gotta go and do it. It's like, it's like I don't look at that person and be like, bad person. No, I'm just like, dude, that's awesome. That's so cool that it's demanding that much of you and you're so on fire for it. Like, keep at it. That's awesome. At the same time, get some rest, man. Like, be healthy. But yeah, I'm proud of that person. Proud of that person for working so hard, because that's awesome. Now, is it overstepping some bounds? Yes. Should they get some more rest? Yes. But my point is, when you look at your sleep and you're like, oh, I'm only getting this tonight, don't say that. Instead, say, wow, I only get this much tonight. I'm gonna tell my coworkers. It's gonna be pretty cool because like it's kind of like I get to gloat. It's okay to like kind of think that way a little bit, because it's not like you're prideful about, oh no, I only get 4 hours. I don't ever get more than that. You know, it's just like today it's been extra tough. Be proud of yourself for it being tough, not down on yourself because it's extra tough. When you have an extra tough assignment and that's the day you're carrying out, there are people who will be like, oh, you know, bummed about it. And they'll like complain to everybody all day long about how they only got to have 4 hours of sleep tonight. But there are other people who will be like, dude, check me out. I am on fire. I've only got 4 hours of sleep tonight and I'm kicking everybody's butt over here. You know, there are people like that. And then, you know, and then there's the humble approach that's like, I got 4 hours of sleep and it's no big deal. I'm going to go and I'm going to do a great job today. And you can be happy about that. So my point is, perspective changes the whole way you feel about how much sleep you got. It changes the whole way you feel about how much work you've done. For being burnt out or not being burnt out. Feeling burnt out, it's a feeling. It can be a feeling. Of course, it can also, and I'm not saying don't respect your feeling. Your feeling is there to tell you something. But your feeling might be a result of a perspective that says, that's constantly complaining about what you don't want to do, instead of constantly being encouraging yourself over what dignity you have in all the things that you are doing, like how good it is that you're doing these things. So I'm not pointing fingers because I don't know where you're at this. This is just one thing to help. You might be physically burnt out. You might have been working so hard. You literally you're just physically burnt out, and so it's causing mental strain. That's respectable. I get it. Take some time off. And it's like, yeah, but I don't have time because I have to get all these things done. If I slack off, then they'll never get done. It's like, actually, in reality, many studies have shown that if you take just 1 day off a week instead of 0, your performance, the amount of work you get done over that week, is at least 15% more. Even though you took 1 full day off, you did 15% more than you could have if you did 7 days of work instead of 6. Because your body can operate that much better. And your mind too. So make sure you do take at least some time off. In addition, you said, in response to Joe's comment about dream building, what it's called, dream building, when you look at the things that fire you up and remind you of why you got into all of this in the first place. He said, well, it's hard when I only have half the pieces of the puzzle. No, that's how we always are, I think. It is always hard because we all always have only half the pieces or less of the puzzle. We have a dream, we're like, that'd be really cool if this, and then it's like, and I can't even fully imagine what that is, but I know I like it. It's like, I want to make, I'm in the process of making a video game. It's like, I want to make a video game, and it's going to look, well, I can't tell you how it's going to look, but it's going to be cool, and there's going to be like this going on in it. And I'm like, I don't know what that's going to look like, but it's going to be cool, and it's like constantly, I don't know. I have ideas, and some parts of them sort of figured out, but not all the way figured out. And I just know that it inspires me and that I'm looking forward to it, And so it's not having the full puzzle is okay. Visualize what parts of the puzzle you can, and then also spend time figuring out that other parts of the puzzle. Because if you spend time figuring out the other parts of the puzzle, whenever you make any breakthrough, it will re-catch you on fire. It'll catch you back on fire because you'll make a breakthrough and be like, oh, I got a part of the puzzle figured out. This is really cool. I'm excited again. So it's okay. It's okay if you don't have the full puzzle. No one kind of ever does until the puzzle's completed. And then and figure it out as you go and excite yourself by revisiting it. Even if it's just revisiting old material. Excite yourself by thinking about those different pieces. Some days you won't find anything new, but some days you might find that one piece of the puzzle that you picked up. It's like, oh, that goes here. And then you're really excited again. So, yeah, I think that's just how it is. So keep picking up those puzzles as Joe was saying for dream building. I think that's really important. To remember why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah. What if it's draining? What if it's a draining day that I get yelled at by everyone? It's hard to put myself in that mindset. Yeah. That's totally understandable, totally relatable, totally makes sense that you would feel like crap if everyone's been yelling at you. And here's the thing. Your mind is like your subconscious mind, if it's trained to make habits and everybody else is yelling at you, when you get home, your subconscious mind will probably continue yelling at you. So what you need to do is, in those moments when people are yelling at you, respond a specific way so that if you do get home and your brain starts yelling at you, you respond that way to your brain. How do you respond to people yelling at you? Ellie, that's up to you, part to decide. But think about it. Think about it now. What's the best way to respond to not give those comments, so that not giving those people weight over how you feel? What's the best way to respond to allow those comments to build you and not diminish you? Here's one thing. Humility, which is the opposite of pride, right? It's a virtue. To be yelled at is stinky, and no one should yell at anybody, okay? Unless, well, there are circumstances where yelling at each other makes sense, but in most cases, if you're at your job or whatever, yelling, condemning people, telling them they're stupid, telling them off, whatever, so much better ways to handle each other. Gordon Ramsay is if you watch his television show, you don't need to be Gordon Ramsay. No one needs to be Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay is acting like an idiot.
And not even Gordon Ramsay needs to be Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, even Gordon Ramsay
he doesn't need to act like Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, even Gordon Ramsay would
he's
probably...
got to be himself. But
yeah, Gordon Ramsay would even say of Gordon Ramsay on television that is no way to act in a restaurant. Because it isn't. It isn't a way to act at any job or any place. Even Gordon Ramsay would say that about his own TV show, okay? So my point is, yes, it is entirely inappropriate that people are yelling at you. But you are you, and you get to receive that yelling however you want. Part of it should be you recognize that what they're trying to say to you is important, and that you could be doing a better job, and to take up that criticism as to your own benefit and grow out of it is good. And to take what they have to say and benefit from it is good. And to take what they have to say and make everybody else's day better by implementing what they're yelling at you about is good. And then pardon them for addressing it the completely inappropriate way. You know, you're going to have to forgive them. You're going to have to be like, look, maybe you don't say it to their face, but you can say it in your head and be like, I kind of feel bad that they're currently programmed, that they feel like that's the way that they have to get their messages across. I feel bad that if they're that way, then I feel really bad for their family life, if that's how they are at home. I feel, you know, and it's okay to have that compassion and recognize like that person isn't doing things the right way, but I can still take something from what they said and grow from it. And that's good. But I don't have to receive the way that they said it in a way that diminishes me and the way I think about myself and the way I feel. I don't have to allow them to make a fool of themselves and therefore make a fool of me. They don't have to diminish me. If they yell at me, it doesn't change who I am. If they yell at me, that shows me who they are. It doesn't show me who I am. And they might be pointing out a mistake that shows me my mistake. Yeah, and I can learn from that. And that's the humble response. That takes a lot of humility. But to experience, like, if you experience that, like where they yell at you and you can't take any of the criticism that comes with it, any of the constructive criticism, any of the stuff that could be beneficial, you can't take it because they yelled, that's pride. And so it's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's yes, they did something wrong. Yes, they did something inappropriate to yell at you. But you being the best version of yourself, what is that? Regardless of if they yelled at you or not, that's them. That's on them. What about you? What's the best version of you and yourself? What's the best display of the virtues that you can possess, you can give? How do you take what they say and return with grace in such a way that it makes them stop yelling? Because they respect you and they see how disrespectful they're being. And I'm not, some people, now here's the thing, you don't know all the people, and you don't necessarily have a position where they respect you or they're going to listen to you. But some people, you just have to, like, literally you yell at them once and they'll stop. That's not everybody. Some people, if they yell, the chances are they've experienced other people yelling at them before. And that's not going to make it stop. It's just going to make things worse if you yell back. sometimes people have never experienced yelling at someone and that person going, like, talking really deep to them about
Mm.
anything. Because instead, everybody always just reacts with, like, casting their eyes down and just getting to work or whatever. There are many ways to interact with people, and I can't tell you what's the right one for the right person because God only knows. And what you can do is try to be your best version of yourself and hope that that version is the version that really helps the other person see clearly that they shouldn't be yelling. But all of that, that's on them. That's not you. So who cares if they yell at you? That's on them. That's not you. That's not who you are. You aren't the nature of being yelled at because, like, that doesn't even make sense. Just like if you stand still and you don't move like a statue, it doesn't make you a statue, literally. You aren't the nature of being statue. You aren't made out of stone and cast and shaped by somebody else into a figure. You know, that's not who you are. You're just pretending to be a statue, if you will. My point is, if someone yells at you, you aren't. That doesn't change who you are. And if someone yells at you, maybe they see you that way. Maybe they see you as a statue or whatever. But in reality, that's their misperception. That's not, has nothing to do with you. That's just entirely to do with them. So if they're having a bad day and they're trying to rub it off on you, that's on them. You don't have to receive that. You don't have to care. You do not have to care about people yelling at you. You literally do not have to care. And if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't care. Who cares?
In your profession, it sounds like you work in a kitchen.
With Gordon Ramsay?
Well, not with Gordon Ramsay, but
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Said,
That was a joke. That was a joke.
Right, but it says here the chef yells, servers yell, guests are snappy and rude, etc. So it's in a kitchen.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect. Then my example is perfect. It's all inappropriate.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Well, here's the thing about that environment, though. It's a high stress environment.
It is.
It's one of the highest stress environments that you can work in a kitchen, and especially at a restaurant. Like I mean, I've never worked fast food. I worked as a cook at a bar and grill, and I remember that was a big selling point for the next job I got because it's like, oh yeah, you can handle stress.
Right.
So people may be yelling just because they're stressed. Guests may be yelling because they're hungry and hangry, right?
Some people could be yelling just because everybody else is yelling and they're not even thinking about
it.
They're not even thinking about it.
It seems to me that our society is getting more and more rude. Maybe that's just an observation that I don't know. But there are good people out there too, right? And so your job is to be the light for them, to be a light of goodness. And like you don't have to. So Super Neon Blue says, I feel like people who yell are often abusive, and what they're saying about you isn't true and is unhelpful. And that's very valid. But also, like, if you're in a high stress environment, like, people just might be yelling because they're stressed. Like, we had the other day, your brother and I, we're like really, really close friends. We've been really close friends for years. Almost 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, but we're sharing a ladder, which is totally not OSHA approved, right? We're both on the same ladder. And we're holding up this piece of this ceiling of this paint booth building that we're building inside our building, and we're holding this thing up, and it's really heavy, and we're trying to get it up and get a bolt stuck in there so it'll stay in place and everything like that. And we're both standing on this teetering ladder. We're both straining with like all the muscle we can provide for this thing, right? And we're trying to not fall off, and we're trying to not drop it. We're like, you know what? If it drops, and we're just gonna let go of it because we can fix it if it falls and gets dented or whatever, right? But we're really trying to not drop it. But you know what? We ended up yelling at each other in that moment, both of us. But it's because we were straining so hard and we were under all this stress, and we had a different idea of how we were gonna get it, accomplished. And so we're like, no, blah, blah, blah. We're like yelling back and forth. And it's just because of the stress of the moment and the strain that we were both under, right? So like that can happen as well. You know a lot about OSHA violations. The cool thing is since we're both owners of the company, that OSHA does not apply.
Awesome.
They can't shut us down because none of us are employees. We're all owners, right? So, but yeah, and Super Neon Blue says some people just get mad for no good reason. It's true, and it is not your fault. Okay, so the stress of the environment could be doing that as well. And so, I like what Haley said up there. When people are yelling at you and all that kind of stuff. And Haley said, some days will be hard. If you have to go home and cry, that's okay. Have a good cry. But then have hope that tomorrow will be better and keep moving forward with hope. And I like that. Here's the thing. You can end your day or you can end that time whenever, right? Now, sometimes if you're at a job and you just walk off, there might be disciplinary actions that happen at that point in time or whatever, right? You might, there could be all kinds of things that happen. But at the end of your workday, it's okay to have that be the end of your day. There are times when I've just had enough. And it's just like, okay, it's time to go home. It's time to go home and like lay down, or it's time to go out to my car and tip the seat back and take a nap, or it's time to just shut off and take a rest, whether it's for the rest of the day or an hour or whatever, right? But then how do you handle when someone's yelling at you? A lot of times they're just blowing off steam. And this is one of the things that Super Neon Blue has said. I think Haley mentioned it too. Was that it's not about you. If they're yelling at you, and Ryan, you said this. I think it's not you that they're yelling at. It's just that you're there and they're yelling because they're upset or stressed or whatever, right? I are dealing with that a ton as a property inspector. A ton. They thought they were mad at me, but they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
When I'd show up and take pictures of their house because they were late on their mortgage payment or they were going into foreclosure or whatever. But they were mad. They were in that whole situation and mad. And I remember this so vividly. This one lady, I went and I had this idea. Like I was there to take a couple pictures of the front of the house, drop off a door card to, like basically a little door hanger envelope that had a note inside that said, call your mortgage company, whatever, phone number. And I was getting to the point where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this as stealthily as possible. I'm going to walk up to the door. I'm going to put the door hanger on the door. I'm going to get to my car. And by the time they realized that I was even here, I'm already down the road. Like I was doing this to try and not be noticed at all. But this lady had a dog.
Yeah.
Inside, and it was all fine until I put the door hanger on the door, and that made just enough noise for the dog to notice. And the dog started going crazy, barking, blah, 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 whatever. And so I'm getting to my car, and she storms out of the house. And she grabs that thing off of the door, and she's yelling at me, and she's yelling and talking about all the stuff. She basically just had to vent. She's asking me questions, and I'm trying to answer the questions, and she cuts me off to complain about more stuff. And so I'm sitting there going, like, she's not really asking me these questions to have answer. She's just trying to blow off steam. And so I just kind of sat there and I kind of got into the back of my head, like, she's just venting, so just let her vent. Just let her talk. Just when the noise stops, maybe start talking. And so, like, she'd ask a question, and then she'd sit there for a second in silence, and so I'd start answering the question, and then she'd cut me off again, and then, like, complain and more, blah, 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 go off and vent and blah, 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 right? By the end of this, I was probably there for like 10 minutes listening to her. It felt like 2 hours, right? Because it's just noise.
Yeah, and you have
yelling,
other places to get to.
right. It's just wow. But I tell you, the way that ended, I mean, and there were tears involved. They had a really stressful situation. It wasn't like they were just holding the money and not paying for their house payment. No.
Of course.
They had medical bills. Her husband had a major illness, and there were medical bills unpaid, and the insurance didn't cover it all. And so they have all this money, and it was just this hugely stressful time. And so I allowed her to vent. I allowed her to just talk about it. I didn't judge her. I didn't argue with her. When she asked a question, I started to answer, and she cut me off. And so I just stopped talking again, and I let her go. And I just, continue. I'd just sit there and let her talk. And there, and she started crying and all this kind of stuff. It was just so stressful. And so, like, by the end of that, she's like, you are an angel. And she's like giving me this big hug and all this kind of stuff, right? Because she was mad that I was there doing my job. But she was mad because of all the other stuff that's going on in her life. And there's this person that just shows up at this moment and puts the straw on the camel's back and breaks it. Like, that was it. But then after she was done, man, and then we became friends. And then I explained to her, I'm like, look, I understand this is hard. But you can make it through. You're going to be okay. And it was like Haley talked about. She's like, she has a little message on her phone that says, you can do this. That goes off every hour. It's important to be encouraging and be genuine about it, right? And encouraging with yourself and others. But it was like, I'm just like, hey, you can get through. And then, but I'm going to probably be here every month. Because these generally happen while this process is going on, like they'll have me coming out once a month to make sure you haven't abandoned the place. Right? And so every month, it'd be like, then the next month I came, she had like lemonade. And she gave me some. Right? And she'd come out and talk to me. We would just talk then. We became friends. She's asking how my kids are doing. She's all this kind of stuff, right? Like it turned into that. But that initial, she was so stressed and just bit my head off. Like I thought I was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's hugging me and calling me an angel.
I have one of those too. It's great.
Yeah. But what you figure out is they're not yelling at you. It's not you. It's not something that you did or something you failed to do. Maybe you forgot something or maybe you did something, but they're not yelling because of that. They're yelling because of all the other stress that's going on for them. And you just happen to be the one to do something at the wrong time or forget to do something at the wrong time. And it triggered the yell. But it's not. You have to figure out how to not take that personally because it's not about you. It's not something wrong with you. Okay? But I understand getting yelled at. I understand being in a stressful environment. I understand that that's really, really difficult. But I'll tell you, those things that are difficult build character. Those things that are difficult are preparing you for running after big dreams. You've talked multiple times about your dreams, Ellie. And from what I understand, they're big. You realize big dreams require big sacrifices and big struggles and a difficult path. Big dreams lie along a difficult path. It just is that way. If you have something big you want to do, it's going to require a lot of you. It's going to require you to grow. And this right here is the proving ground. So don't be afraid that you're getting handed big struggles. Don't be afraid that you're getting handed big challenges and big amounts of work and all this kind of stuff and the threat of burnout and like this endless amount of tasks and stress and all these things flying around you. That is just telling me you're on the right track. If your dreams are big, you're going to get hit with that stuff. And so when you can learn that and when you can internalize that, then when those big things happen, once you get past the initial shock of the thing happening, right? Then you can tell yourself, oh yeah, this is just because I have big dreams. And this is preparing me for having that big, for achieving that big dream. Because it's going to require big everything. And big struggles are part of it. So it's okay. You're on the right track. And you are good enough. Super Neon Blue says, where was it? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, I used to think that way, but then I became unsure of myself and unsure if anything I do is good or not. Yes, that is normal. And I think anybody who does anything creative struggles with that. Is it good enough? Am I good enough? Did I do this good enough? Now, Super Neon Blue, I've seen your work. Your work is good enough.
Agreed.
Your work is way good enough. And you are good enough. I mean, you married Ryan.
That's good enough for me.
I mean, all my misconceptions about marriage set aside, like
Fair enough.
But if you can remind yourself, there's in a book I read, it was either how I raised myself from failure to success in selling, or what's the
Top five.
how to have power and influence in dealing with people.
Yeah.
I was going to say how to win friends and influence people, but that wasn't it. It was like how to have power and confidence in dealing with people, or how I raised myself from failure to success in selling. One of those books talked about write up a little commercial of you selling you to you. That's a lot of the word you. So like write up something that sells you yourself, that sells yourself on you. Any way I word this, I can't get it to make sense.
It made sense to me both times.
You sell yourself to yourself. So like you just talk, you make a commercial like Haley talked about. You can do this, right? You can even go more elaborate. You can be like, Ellie, meet Ellie. Ellie is really awesome because of blah, 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 and this and that, but it's got to be truth. You got to say true things about yourself. So I would say, Joe, meet Joe. This is one of these guys who's going to outwork anybody because I can work hard, right? And so like that's something I can say to sell myself to myself. I've worked hard and I've proven it on the swim team. I've proven it in many multiple jobs, in businesses and all this kind of stuff. It's like, Joe, you can work hard. The other thing is you can learn fast. Joe, this guy can learn anything and he can learn it fast. And so like these attributes that help us to have a proper self-image of how we can do it. So you can make up your own. Take attributes of yourself that are positive and write them down and then keep it somewhere, or you can put it in your phone, whatever, and then you can read it.
Hey, I like that a lot.
So you're selling yourself to yourself. This Joe guy is so cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riku, thank you. Yeah. But those are things, but it has to be true. Because I learned some other stuff from some motivational gurus who were like, oh, yeah, you just say, I'm a millionaire. And you say it over and over and over and over and over again until your subconscious believes it. And I'm like, no, every time I say that, I say liar because I'm not a millionaire yet. Right? And so they'd be like, well, just speak it into existence. And I'm like, but if I know I'm lying to myself, then that messes with my subconscious. So I had to come up with stuff. Maybe it works for some people, but I'm a INFJ, personality type, and consistency and the ideal. I'm an idealist and very consistent, right? So if I'm lying to myself, my subconscious really notices it.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with stuff that's true. Yeah, the yet prophecy, exactly, right? Because, hey, just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it can't. It could. Who knows? I don't know yet. But anyway, I'm sorry. I totally took it away from you, Ryan, and I rambled forever.
No, you didn't. No, no, man. That was when you were supposed to come in and the things you were supposed to say. That was really good, dude. That was fantastic.
Oh, okay.
I really liked all of
Cool.
that. You had a lot of really good points in there, and I think it's worth listening to again.
Man,
we were
Leos,
talking
you read
about
that book, huh?
Yeah, it's a good book.
That is very good.
Yes, Les Giblin. Yep, that's it. So yeah, what you were talking about, how if you've got big dreams, you're gonna have big problems. But I wanted to say it's like if you've got dreams the size of a mountain, you're gonna have to climb that mountain.
Right.
And it's interesting too. You said you got all these problems that you're gonna have to face along the way. I just want to say that's for you. That's for you. In the most enduring and loving way possible. That's for you. And it's not like, here's pain, that's for you in the sadistic way. It's like, no, here's what it is. Here's what it looks like. You're going to make so much good out of all of it. So it's like, I know you might not be Catholic, you might be. But like when you go to God with your suffering and you're like, all I've got for you, God, right now is my suffering. That's my sacrifice. This is what I got, it's a big pile of crap is how I feel, and and so on and so forth. And yet God can take it and do good with it. And similarly, you do it backwards, and Jesus goes like, I'm sorry, all I had for you was the cross, and that was me literally suffering and making something glorious out of it. I saved, Jesus saved the world, so to speak. And so it's like he redeemed us, and so we honor that sacrifice. We think of that pain as like one of the most beautiful good things that has ever happened, and also one of the worst and awful things that has ever happened at the same time. And so when you go through your cross, when you bear your own cross, that's for you. Because that's awesome. Because how, like, Ali, I believe you're Christian. I don't know necessarily what denomination, doesn't really matter. You look at the cross, you see Jesus up there, and you're like, how incredible. That is a beautiful moment. That is mercy. That is God crying for for the creatures he has made, becoming one of them and making that sacrifice, going through that trial and pain. And then also doing, like, making the world a better place, teaching virtues, teaching holiness, and making the world more sanctified, making the world, like, literally steering the world from that moment forward down a whole different path that it was going. And we have so many blessings now because of it. And it's like, you look at the world and you're like, oh yeah, we've got way better morals now. We got way less killing. We've got way more like care for people's dignity and equal rights and all of this, anti-slavery, anti-racism, all of that. And it's like that Christians have been preaching that for years, and right from the beginning, you know. And it's like, okay, that all came out of that sacrifice. So when you look at your hard times, remember the beauty of sacrifice, and that those sacrifices, that's part of your story that is glorious. So when you go through those hard times, and it's really hard, and you're starting to feel burnt out, that's for you. And it's not like that's for you, like, because you've done so many sins and this is what you get. It's like, this is your story. This is the bad you get to make into good. This is the glory that you get to share with God. This is the story God gets to revel in with you. This is your cross to bear. And it's worth bearing. So keep that in your mind. Keep that in your mind as you go through and chase whatever dream it is, because things do get tough sometimes. And it's important to remember that just because it's tough doesn't mean it's wrong. Just because it's tough doesn't mean it's bad. Just because people yell at you while you're doing it doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It doesn't mean you need to change anything, but maybe you do. Doesn't mean you can't listen. Doesn't mean you can't learn from them yelling at you, you know? You be the best you, and you carry that on your path wherever you go. And honestly, that's the life. And it's amazing, and it's rewarding, and it feels great, and it's incredible. And it creates mountains out of hills in a good way. You know, it's that dream, that mountain that you want to make of a dream, that mountain of a dream that you have to climb that mountain. You make the mountain when you're doing that. So, you move mountains, I suppose. Maybe that's a more biblical. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. So I think, wow, actually, that you move mountains is okay. There's a lot of symbolism in that, but regardless, yeah. So just keep that in mind as you're going through this hard time and feeling like you're burnt out. All of these things, I think, are helpful tools for you and your perspective, for you and how you handle things, for you and paving the way forward. So feel free to listen to it all again. Joe had a lot of really, really good things to say. So I'd say listen to his part at least twice. So yeah, that's what I got.
I'd say listen to Ryan's part at least twice.
Okay. Then listen to them both at least twice.
And Ryan talked about moving mountains. You're already moving a mountain.
That's true.
Because, you know, like, look at what time it is.
Yeah. Look.
The mountain of DWW has moved a half an hour past its end time. And we didn't even notice.
Yeah. For you.
Maybe you guys noticed. It was your topic. Yeah. But Ellie, I really appreciate this topic a lot because it reminded me, like, going through this and hearing what Ryan said and hearing what I said even, was like, because I really, really struggle with when somebody's yelling or somebody says something strongly to me or criticizes something I've done, I tend to label myself as failure with that because of that.
Yeah, it's like I caused the person to yell at me and they had to do that, therefore I'm doing wrong.
Therefore, like me personally, me as a person is wrong.
Right.
Like, why do I even exist, right? Like, it's like, because... And so I struggle with that. And so I have to constantly be reminding myself that, you know, just because they're upset about something and because they're yelling, even though I did this thing, it does not reflect on who I am or my quality as an individual. It does not assign a value to me.
Absolutely true. Does not.
they can't assign a value to me. They can't assign a value to you because all of us are infinitely valuable. And so are your dreams. And those dreams are those things that have been put in you so you can make the world a better place and so that you can enrich all of our lives with what you're here to do. And it excites me to think of think of what can be done here.
Yep.
So
the world is counting on you. Just doesn't know it yet. That's the way it is.
Why are you apologizing?
No, that's great. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wait, so Twashu, I think Namblu is working in the kitchen. I was wondering for a bit if there's someone in the house because it was faraway kitchen sounds. Sitting here wondering, like, person in my house?
Oh, no, your own house. Wait. Sorry you could hear that. I didn't realize that.
Wow. Because we went overtime. No problem at all. I didn't even notice until I just looked down and I was just like, man.
Yeah,
we just went and it was great.
The pencil mic is facing the door, which is where all the sounds are coming from. So that makes sense.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I'd have to position it slightly differently.
Yeah, who's working in your kitchen at 4 a.m.
Don't be self-critical of that. It's fine. It's good. That's what we all like to hear. Sounds in the kitchen. Yeah. It means there's food.
Hey, you know what? It sounds like you're cooking up something great.
Yeah. All right. Well,
hey, Cynthia. People don't see all the sides of you. Only you can see all of yourself. So don't let one person's opinion affect you too much. Very brilliantly said. Absolutely. And you know what, though? I would say one caveat with that. You can see almost all of yourself. But we all have blind spots, too. Those are okay, right? But you see the most. All these other people around you, they don't see in your heart. But you do. Yeah, flaws. Yes, absolutely. We all have them. And that's okay. Because as we discover them, we try and fix them, right? That's kind of the idea. Yeah. As we discover more and more of those areas that need fixing, we can improve ourselves. And that's how we live. That's how we get to be our best selves. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right, Cynthia. Yeah, people don't see all those sides. They just see like what you're doing at that moment. So, Ellie, you be you, and you do what you're here to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in awe when people have big dreams. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Because but it fits that you go through difficult times.
Yeah.
I remember dealing with lots of people giving me crap about a lot of times, you know. And I would think back to the dreams I have of, you know, like the things that we'd want to accomplish at BSS, you know, all these different things, right? And I remember having this moment where it was like, you know, we're moving forward. We're not moving forward as fast as we want. It never moves forward as fast as you want, by the way, ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember having this moment where it's like, oh man, I'm so frustrated because these people are all being so mean to me. And I've got to deal with all these stupid people all over the place. And then I'm like, wait a second, wait. For you to accomplish what you want to accomplish at BSS, do you realize the size organization you're going to need to have? Mm-hmm. You know how many people, even outside your organization, all the different people at all the different agencies that you're going to be interacting with all over the place. You know, this is going to be huge. If you're going to accomplish what you're setting out to accomplish here, you're going to be in contact with a huge group of people. So this is just preparing you for that. I'm like, oh, because we get grandiose ideas of what we want our dreams to be, but then when we actually start to think about what it's going to take to get there, it's like, wait, there's going to be a lot of people involved. There's going to be a lot of phone calls that need to be made. There's going to be a lot of emails. There's going to be a lot of correspondence. There's going to be a lot of collaboration. There's going to be all this stuff. So you're going to have to like be prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Manti, hey, love you, buddy. Have a good night. I want to go sleep too sometime soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's do that then. Manti, have a great night, and everybody else also have a great night. We love you all, and we're gonna get going. Thank you so much, Ellie, for this great topic. This was a beautiful beautiful way to talk about life and all that it has to offer, because it can be like that, and I feel like that's what the stream is about in both topics. So that's great. Adulting and
thank you.
Burnout. Yeah,
you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And I know we talked about, it started off as burnout, and then it went into this whole like, but it's all kind of related.
Yeah, it's definitely related, because in order to conquer burnout, you definitely have your perspective, and then you also need to have the health in order, and everything's important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Cynthia,
August, thank you.
Yeah,
you're always a light in my day. You're so awesome, August. Sincerely.
Mm-hmm. You guys are all awesome. Thank you. We appreciate you guys so much. We love hanging out. This is like one of my favoriteest things to do all week.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
So happy to be here. It's such a blessing to spend this time doing what we're doing here with you guys, who are also engaging in it and doing what you're doing. So yeah, lots of great comments, lots of really helpful comments today. So thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
Mm-hmm. You guys are amazing.
Mm-hmm. See you guys. Hope you have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll see you next Wednesday along your journey. If you ever feel like you're worried about something, feel free to shoot into don'tworrywednesday.com. That's where you can put your topics. Forgot to say that earlier. Don'tworrywednesday.com. Yeah, that's it. Simple as that. You can just click the submit a topic button, and you'll be on your way. But anyhow, thank you so much.
I'm on my way.
Blessings, everybody. Have a great night. I'll just ignore whatever that was. No, I'm kidding. I just don't know what it was. Peace.
All right, love you guys.
Bye.